Hey, so I saw Crimes of the Future the other night at the cinema, and this is what I think about it. Actually, one guy who sat next to me got up and left about 30 minutes into the movie, and throughout the screening, certain audience members actually would make disgusted noises during the harder scenes. A few friends of mine who saw this movie before me, they warned me that it's Crimes of the Future isn't a very light and happy movie, and that's very true. But what surprised me was the amount of humor and ironic scenes. So David Cronenberg has still got it as a director. The cast was pretty damn impressive. It took me a while to figure out where the movie was set, the story was set. At first I thought it might have been somewhere like Serbia, I don't know, because there were all those busted up streets and that kind of strange ambience, but apparently that was Greece. So that was interesting. The film is over 2 hours long, so at certain points I felt that it was getting a little bit ponderous, and this is where the humorous bits really helped the movie along. I didn't expect the movie also to be quite as dialogue driven. So Crimes of the Future, a lot of the key plot beats you have to listen to, so there are those quite static moments where there is not much action and there is just vocal exchanges, and Viggo Mortensen, who plays quite an unusual character in this film, he like delivers a lot of his stuff in this kind of low groveling voice. So the sound is really important. Crimes of the Future, the score was brilliant. The score, I felt it could have drifted in from the original Scanners movie or something like this, but modernized, so it felt very appropriate. It gave it that touch of like old school Cronenberg, which was nice. The cast in general was really good. What I liked was that it was like an international cast, so there was people with different accents. There is like cast members from at least 3 different countries. So it was a bit like being like on a lunch break at like a multinational corporation. So there is people speaking about quite complex things casually in very different accents. So I like that international ambience. The one thing I didn't like so much was like the finale. The film doesn't really build up to much of a climax. So there is, it ends, it promises something, and it's deliberately left a little bit vague and abrupt, but I think it was like a deliberate move. And I think the original Scanners also had that kind of a ending where you couldn't quite work out, is it like a new birth or a death or a bit of both. There was some pretty gross imagery, and I can see how this movie could upset a casual viewer, but I suppose casual viewers also don't walk into a movie called Crimes of the Future unless they saw the trailer, and the trailer packs a lot of the shocking stuff up front and makes the movie look like a bit more of a shock fest, which it actually is. When I saw the trailer, I was really steeling myself for quite a nasty experience, but the film isn't that gross on the whole, because it's actually like a relationship drama with some interesting philosophical concepts touched upon, not necessarily explored fully. Even though it's like a 2-hour movie, there is still room left where you could think, okay, there might be even a follow-up or something. So that was great. But there is a very good balance, and David Cronenberg shows a very sure hand in balancing the slimy, yucky moments with the more earnest, well-acted stuff. And there is a certain dynamic, even though it's not like a, pulse-pounding like thriller. It is a thriller though, so there is an intrigue and there is a few revelations, but like I said, you can't really switch off your brain and let the visuals carry you through the movie, because this way you're gonna like miss out on a lot of crucial plot information. So you have to listen, pay attention. There is a lot of dialogue. I can really only think of a handful of filmmakers who could attract audiences nowadays to the cinemas to watch a film which is gonna be yucky and unpleasant. I think that's definitely David Cronenberg, and possibly also people like Lars von Trier or Gaspar Noé. Crimes of the Future was one of a handful of movies this year which I was really looking forward to, and the other one being probably Dario Argento. So both of them are like sacred monsters of cinema, and they are returning to the big screen this year. For Dario, it took like 10 years for him to bring a new movie to the cinemas. With David Cronenberg, it was something like 5, and he wasn't even sure he was ever gonna direct again. So it's really great to see those, you could say, old school masters get another shot at like a general release picture. So that was cool. And I have to say, Crimes of the Future did not disappoint me, and it's one of those films that stays with you and grows on you. I think you can take away a lot from the movie, and it might take a while before you realize the impact, how much impact it actually leaves on you. But as you watch it for the first time, it's also quite a sober film, and at certain points the music also contributes to this really dark atmosphere. I love the music. I think it really helps smooth over some of the more longer moments, some of the longer scenes, which might have done with a tiny bit of the trim. But it's definitely worth a look. Check it out, and just see the trailer. And if you don't mind that kind of imagery, then definitely go and watch Crimes of the Future.